Hello, friends. It is I. Please let me know if you can hear me okay. Oh, my voice cracking already. Glorious Bowser. Hey, saw your post on Twitter and had to come give you some love lurk while I eat. Come hang out sometime. I will send my community to support you. Awesome. Hey, Glorious Bowser. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the stream. Please enjoy your food. Woof, Neo, hello. How are you? Let me put my sweater on. I've been meaning to put my sweater on for like 5 minutes and then I keep forgetting. And I keep getting cold and then I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't put my sweater on. Lol. Went to the hospital during the night. I was back home at 3 p.m. I feel better but not good. Neo, oh no, are you sick? Did you hurt yourself? Please let us know what's going on with you. If you don't want to, though. Just know that we're sending you good thoughts. We hope you feel better soon. No more trips to the hospital, I certainly hope. Woof, how are you? Is today one of your in the office days, or are you fully from home today? It's Friday. My brain doesn't want to do anything, which is gonna make writing a story very fun and interesting. Let me just open Glorious Bowser's Twitch so that I can follow when I am not live. Oh my goodness, sorry, like I was saying, Friday. I will fully admit that I got up this morning. I hadn't really planned what I was going to write for this particular prompt. The prompt for today is a weirder one. I didn't want to put the whole thing in the title because it's super long, but it is the monster that hurt me will stop hunting by the end of class, but the students can't know. It's a bit of a weird one. And I wanted to try it because it's the kind of prompt that I would normally maybe skip over because it feels too specific. So I'm hoping... I'm trying to adjust my OBS because it's being weird. I'm hoping that... what do I want to say? I'm hoping that I can do this in such a way that it stays true to the prompt, but also kind of true to the concept I want to write. I'm probably going to bend interpretation on this a little bit to fit what I want to do with it, but I feel like with writing prompts, you should be inspired by them rather than feeling like you're pigeonholed by them or sort of limited by them. AB Coffee, hello. Oh, you're live 1 to 4, which you never do. But that's what made sense to me at the time of reading the announcement. Yeah, I don't usually do Friday morning streams. I usually do my prompts on Thursday afternoon. But right now I've got some project shuffle going on. So the project that I usually work on Tuesday and Tuesday all day and Thursday morning is actually taking a little bit of extra time. So I needed all day Thursday to work on it. So my prompts this week, I'm doing a prompt on now. I thought I saw 10 to 1. And that was 1 to 4. Well, for me, it's 10 to 1 Pacific time. So if you're on the East Coast, I assume it's whatever time it is there. I can't math right now. I've had 3 sips of coffee. It's what, 12:30 there? I don't know math. Yeah, it's 10 a.m. It's 10:20 a.m. Pacific time. I'm just now sitting down with my coffee to start my day. Time travel is confusing. Yeah, exactly. I'm streaming now. I'm streaming at this time, obviously. But hey, AB Coffee, how are you? Sometimes I can't, sometimes I just can't time zones. Some days I'm like, oh yeah, this time is this time in that time zone. And some days I'm just like, I don't know what time is. I had extremely painful spasm and hallucinations. The amount of oxygen in my blood was insanely low. They put me in an oxygen chamber. I feel better, but they don't know what happened. I can't remember the night, but apparently it's normal. Was this something that happened because of work, Neo? Or, like, was this work related? Or, like, I'm glad that you're okay. I'm worried because you're a friend and I want you to be okay. But hopefully it doesn't happen again. My boss is sick, which isn't great, but it means meetings are canceled. Hooray! So I can chill before I head out for the weekend. Nice! Was your night off? Oh no, Neo! I mean, I'm glad it wasn't a work-related incident, but at the same time, that sucks. Are you gonna take an extra day off to recuperate? Are you able to do that? I hope that you've, like, let your boss know, and because I know you work so hard. You might need to, you know, take care of yourself. Unless we derail your entire stream and plan for the day, Shagraz would approve. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I woke up this morning and I think I started to say this and then I went off on a tangent, but I hadn't planned what to write for this stream because the prompt is so weird. Why do I have an extra... What is this? What is that? What is this random... What is this random text layer? How did this get here? What is happening with this stream today? Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I hadn't planned what to write for the stream because it's such a weird prompt, and I was trying to plan it this morning, and I have a very sort of vague idea. I try to use my shower time usually to, like, plan out scenes and stuff because it's a good time to just kind of let your mind wander. And I kind of have a vague idea of what I want to do, but I sat down at my computer and my brain was totally like, it's Friday, I don't feel like doing anything. And I'm already, as you can tell, running late because it's 10:30 and I'm still doing my opening spiel of the stream. And who knows when I'm gonna actually try and type a word. I haven't even saved this Word document with a title yet, so that's how things are going with the writing front today. Definitely sound like you work hard hours. And you does work hard hours. My doctor said a week off is needed. I was basically under 9% of oxygen for 2 hours. I'll have to do some tests, brain and heart tests. Well, first of all, if your doctor says you need a week off, please, please, please listen to your doctor and take a week off. And let us know how the tests go. I hope it's nothing serious. I hope it doesn't happen again. We're sending you good thoughts, Neo. I don't know how those words got on the screen. If you really wanted to procrastinate the story, then I'll do the thing. I have no work to do. What thing? I'm scared now. Hang in there, Neo. Oh my god, I can't read. I like to believe they know what they're talking about. Same. Also I need to get some work done on stream at some point, but clearly. Oh, I don't think I can... I don't know if I can, like, do the PowerPoint presentation on stream. Sorry. I realized that I may be having slight seasonal allergies because my eyes keep watering, like, all the time, and I've been super sniffly. And so I asked Ghost about it last night because he does have seasonal allergies. And I described what I've been experiencing, and he was like, he was like, yeah, that sounds like allergies. And of course he chuckled, and I knew he would, because he has like mega allergies, and I've never, like, I have very, very minor reaction to something. I assume it's because there's been a lot of like pollen from trees and stuff in the area. So it's like nothing to him. Everyone loves content. I know. My thought is, if I'm like, yeah, let's do the PowerPoint presentation, we'll go so far off the deep end that I'll never get back to the actual writing thing. I might write some bad typos. I can't focus. Neo, that's totally fine. I just appreciate that you're here hanging out with me. I assume that you are resting and that you are recovering. And if you're not doing that, why aren't you doing that? But I appreciate that you've chosen this as your chill background for what I assume is resting and recovering. Hang on, let me take another sip of coffee so I'm a little more coherent. You're emailing, Neo, you're supposed to be resting. You're supposed to have a day off. The doctor told you you need to rest. Alright. Let's start by saving this document. Story 11. Which I don't even know how we're that far in the year. How is it June? How is it June? Hang on, I need to blow my nose. Apologies. But how is it June already, you guys? You think it won't take more than 20 minutes, but you've never had a conversation with me, which involves a lot of tangents. I'm just putting that out there. In case you haven't noticed from my stream, sometimes I just meander off on tangents. And, what? Sometimes I get distracted, especially on Fridays. Didn't you say you had to go out of town this weekend, AB Coffee? Was that the thing that was canceled? Yeah, shut it down, Neo. Turn my PC and work phone off. Good, well, that's good. I mean, you can say please save all questions to the end of the presentation. I don't know if that would 100%, you know, I don't know if that would 100% make a difference, but, out of town starting this afternoon, I leave around 1 to 10. Oh, so, like, you're basically gonna be here, hang on, let me get rid of Donrin. You're basically gonna be here for my stream and then head out. I hope you have a good trip. I hope I do enough clicky clacks to make you proud before you leave. I hope the last thing you see before you go out of town is not me just totally fail streaming. That would, I don't know, that would make me feel bad. Maybe it would be more entertaining though. Maybe it's more entertaining when I don't succeed. I don't know. Also, I don't know if our friend Bruce Campbell Soup is lurking, so I might have to repeat this later. But I logged into my OBS today and saw that our fantastic and wonderful friend, Bruce Campbell Soup, gifted 5 subs to the community yesterday while I wasn't even online or streaming or anything. And that's amazing. So thank you to Bruce Campbell Soup. I'll say it again when I'm absolutely sure that he's hanging out in chat, but just in case he's hanging out somewhere, thank you for doing that. That was amazing. I assume it was because I think he dropped by Flutter's stream yesterday and heard that it had been my birthday. So, but yeah, if you have a surprise sub lurking when you logged in today, it was probably Bruce Campbell Soup. I was actually upset with myself. I did a script with Supernatural Writer yesterday. I checked word count and it was 400 words for a work email and it made me sad. Those words could have been something more fun. Oh no! I can see how having to write that long of a work email probably just feels draining. I went in a word today, spent 10 minutes trying to figure out why I couldn't hear anything, finally realized my headphones weren't plugged in. Oh no! I hope that you have them plugged in now. Lomi, also hello. I am having that kind of morning too. My brain is very like, do I have to brain today? And I'm like, yes, unfortunately you do have to brain today. But speaking of tangents, funny story in retrospect, but I do every Friday evening, I do a D&D campaign. It's a Dragon Heist game with a couple of other friends on Twitch. It's GM'd by A Person Was Not Here. That's their Twitch name. A Person Was Not Here, which we shortened to Person. It's also Ghost Pepper and Cauliflumps who switch off hosting the stream, myself, one of the gents, I think it's AO Adrian. I believe there are several O's in his name. I think 4, has been away since the first session, but is hopefully going to be rejoining us soon. And Extreme Cookies, who is one of his mods. And usually what I do when I join the session is I turn on my Bluetooth headphones. So you guys usually see me using these headphones, which as you can see are wired, because they're more comfortable. But when I do D&D, I use my Bluetooth headphones because if I need to get up, move around, grab something, get a drink, run to the washroom, I can still hear what the GM is saying, and I won't interrupt the game by coming back and being like, what did I miss, right? And I've just found with digital D&D sessions, it's good to be able to do that, because then I can choose a time when my character isn't talking and just quickly run AFK and back. So last week during camera setup, I tried to turn on my Bluetooth and my headset wouldn't pair. And I thought, oh, it's because I haven't disabled my Bluetooth on my iPad, because sometimes if you have a device that you're trying to pair with something, like if I'm trying to pair my headphones with my computer, but they've already been paired with my iPad, it will sometimes take precedence to my iPad, so I have to make sure I turn my Bluetooth off on my iPad first, right? So I did all that. It seemed like it connected, it just wasn't working. So I was like, okay, I'll forget the device, I'll repair it. And then my Bluetooth radio button on Windows completely disappeared, which this is a weird thing that apparently happens with Windows 10, and I'm not overly surprised because Bluetooth isn't the greatest technology in the world in the way that it functions. So I tried all the normal things. I used to work in IT, so I tried all the normal things that you would do to fix your Bluetooth. I went into the device manager, I made sure the device was working, I did a quick uninstall, reinstall, like rediscover of the device, I restarted my computer, tried, did the uninstall restart so that it'll reinstall thing, like basically spent like 40 minutes while we were supposed to be doing camera setup, trying to fix this Bluetooth, because I was like, I don't want to be disrupting the game if I end up having to run in and out. Sometimes I'm one of those people where sometimes I can drink a gallon of water and be fine for a whole day, and sometimes I can drink 2 sips of water and need to pee every 3 seconds, right? So I never know which kind of pain I'm gonna have. And so finally we just like, I was like, I don't know what to do, guys. Like I told the guys that I was having issues, and we went over like everything that you would logically do to fix that. And then I basically was like, I'm gonna have to delete the drivers and reinstall the drivers from fresh. But when I looked into doing that, it's also my wireless card. Like apparently my wireless and my Bluetooth use the same driver package. And I was like, if I start fucking around with my wireless internet and I can't get it working again, that's it, because I sit far enough away from our modem that like and I was like, and I don't want to reinstall Windows again. We know what process that was. So I found this thread relating to Dell computers that was basically like, unplug your computer and then plug it back in and the Bluetooth will work again. And I was like, this makes no sense. If you know anything, any like logical thing about how technology works, it doesn't, like, this is a thing that happens very frequently on laptops, but as you guys can see, I don't have a laptop. I have a tower. So there's no reason why this should be a thing. I shouldn't be having to remove the plug to like vent any excess charge, which is a thing. I don't even know if that's actually a thing in laptops, but it's a thing that they say is a thing with laptops. And I was just like, this makes no sense. But there were like 20 people who were like, this fixed my Bluetooth. I've been trying to fix my Bluetooth for weeks and this fixed my Bluetooth. So Saturday morning, before I turn on my computer, I'm just like, what the hell? I unplugged my computer for a minute. I'm like, this is gonna do nothing. It's a waste of my time, but whatever, at least I tried it. Wouldn't you know, my fucking Bluetooth works again. And I'm just like, I'm relieved because my Bluetooth works again. I'm furious because it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Now, it used my Bluetooth on Tuesday. I'm hoping it will work again tonight. But if it doesn't, apparently I know how to fix it, even though it doesn't make any sense. So that's my technology spiel. Technology sucks, and I hate it. And that happened. It's one of those days. I thought I'd get up at 7 and do some writing before the kid got up, and instead she got up at 5:30. Oh no! Oh, so that's like 2 hours before you were even ready to be done sleeping. It doesn't make sense, Neo. For like everything that I know about how computers work, like I remember when I worked in IT, we did sometimes have to do that thing where you unplug the laptop and the battery and hold down the power for 30 seconds. But I didn't even hold down the power for 30 seconds. That's the crazy thing. All I did was unplug my computer for like 70 seconds and then plug it back in and turn it back on like normal. It makes no sense to me why that made any difference. Hello, YS Books. How are you? It's the same with the cable router. Apparently it triggers a reset. Yeah, I guess maybe that makes sense. But yeah, because shutting the computer down and waiting like even overnight didn't fix it, but unplugging my computer did. So it's just crazy. It's just crazy to me. But I was like, I tried all these troubleshooting like steps. You know, none of them were particularly complicated because I know how to get into my device manager and I know how to get into my services and all that kind of stuff. But like, I was basically at the point of like looking at having to do like fiddle around with my drivers and all that, and simply unplugging my computer fixed it. And I was like, I don't know if I should be relieved or furious. I thought I said that, but I didn't hit enter. Enjoy your lurk, Lomi. I hope that the day improves for you a bit. Anyway, so tangent done. If you're interested in the D&D, just in case anyone was like, ooh, what are you doing in the D&D campaign? I play a dwarf, bearded dwarf lady, berserker by the name of Jakella, who is basically Disney princess until someone pisses her off and then she rages and then she's just crazy. And I'm going to end up dead because like my character has 2 brain cells and neither of them function while she's raging, and I did almost get dead. Last week's session I got downed and I had to roll a death save, and I rolled a 1 because apparently my dice like to do that on death saves, which is 2 fails, but luckily the rest of the party showed up in time to like shove a healing potion down my throat, so when in doubt, charge. Yeah, I mean, I try to play her as though like she doesn't understand why she flies into a rage, and she's a noble, so it's kind of like alienated her from her family. Also, her wisdom score is -1, so and her intelligence is +0, right? She's just of average intelligence, so it's like she understands how to be a functional human being or functional dwarf on a day-to-day, but she does not really understand like the world outside. Posture check. Let's do it. This will get us in the mood to write. We gotta stretch. Thank you, Halo Banshee. How are you today? What are you up to? Oh my goodness. Big stretch. Also, YS Books, if you'd like to tell us what you're up to today, let us know. Gotta make sure you're okay. Thank you. I've had a slow brain start this morning for sure. We found random words on the overlay that I don't know how they got there. Flutter, thank you so much for the lurk. I hope you're having a good day. Okay, so this prompt I mentioned before. The prompt is, let me read the whole thing again. The monster that hurt me will stop hunting by the end of class, but the students can't know. One of the things that I set out when, like, the very loose rules that I set out when I started this project. Some sounds in my ears because that'll help me get into the mood to write, hopefully. One of the things that I set out as a rule was that I wanted everything to fit into my particular multiverse, and this is a hard one for me because none of my characters really teach, and none of them have like taught or learned in a place where it makes sense for a monster to necessarily be. But I did come up with an idea. There's one setting that I don't think I've talked a lot about on stream. The working title for it is Assassins, and essentially the core concept is that Domran is an assassin. The Assassins Guild is like a legit legal thing. And they have sort of headquarters throughout the world, and they have their own sort of inter-politic system within the guilds. And in this particular setting / time, the current guild leader is ill, probably with cancer, although I don't know if they, because of the level of technology, / very little bit of magic in this particular world, I'm not sure if they know that it's cancer, and if they do know that it's cancer, they can't treat it like as well as we can treat cancer, because they're not quite as modern as we are. So the current guildmaster is ill with cancer, so dying slowly, and usually in this particular setting, the way that leadership of the Assassin's Guild would be transferred is if you kill someone of rank, you get their rank, essentially. So normally, in order for leadership to pass on, someone will plot and murder the current guildmaster and take over. And often the guildmaster doesn't get a chance to grow old for that reason. As soon as they start to get slow, they end up dead. But because of sort of the odd sense of honor within the guild and sort of their own internal rules, everyone kind of feels like it would be bullshit to gain the rank from killing someone who is weakened by something like this disease that he has. So it's a very odd situation within the guild whereby for the first time, the guildmaster has chosen a successor and has trained a successor. And so Domran is his chosen choice, in part because he's an elf, and elves within the Assassin's Guild are very rare because most people are given into the Assassin's Guild when they're young. So most of them are orphans, unwanted children, who are essentially purchased by the guild and raised to be assassins. But because elves in this particular setting setting don't tend to have a lot of children. Even though they live for a very long time, elves tend to only have one child or two children. Elves don't tend to give up their children for adoption very often, so the acquisition of a young elf to be trained from childhood is very rare. It's one of the reasons why he's sort of being groomed to be the new guildmaster. So the teacher in this case is going to be Damarin, going to be teaching other younger assassins. That's going to be the class. And I won't say what is hunting, but something will be hunting him within the scene. And he's sort of, because he's teaching like little kids, like think kindergarten, first grade age, he's trying to protect them without alerting them to the fact that they're in danger. So that's kind of the concept for the scene that I'm working on today. I do think it's a little loose in how it fits the prompt. It's a little bit of a bent interpretation, but like I said at the beginning, I think it's important to be inspired by prompts rather than limited by them. So we'll see how this goes. Imagine having honor, cringe, power, and profit over everything else. I mean, some people would agree with you, Neo. I think the idea here is that the idea behind killing someone to take their position is that it proves that you're stronger and more skilled than them. But the current guildmaster goes through long periods of time where he can't get out of bed because he's sick. And so the perception, like, is that it would be cheap to seize his position because you're not proving anything by killing somebody who's, you know, sick and weak. You're not proving that you're more skilled than them. You're just taking advantage of somebody who is weak. So if that's kind of the perception of it, it's less about like, oh, we don't kill someone who's sick, and more just about like, it won't prove that I'm better than him. Of course, partially what's happening within the guild is that people are waiting for the protege to take over so that they can kill him and prove that they're better than him. So basically, as soon as the old guildmaster passes and Damarin takes over, he has to be ready to like not be murdered. Working on audio for a book. Nice! Not up to much, just on the Xbox and doing random things. May start a stream later. Well, I hope you enjoy your day, Halo Banshee, and I appreciate you hanging out and taking care of me here on stream. Be weary of those in a profession where it is common to die young. I mean, they are assassins. What more can I say? I might, cheeky cheat and just go reheat my coffee quick because it did get cold while I was meandering. Hey Laurel Tabby, how are you? I just spent about 40 minutes rambling. But then I'm going to, as soon as I have hot coffee again, I'm going to set the sprint timer. We're going to do 20-minute sprints today because we're writing instead of editing. And hopefully I can shake some of the cobwebs off here today, get things going. I think what I'll do is remind everyone that I put up the latest pre-order for my Celestial Serenade I put it up on my birthday, so Wednesday. This is coming out June 20th. It's book 5 in the Celestial Serenade. You can see the first few books in the series down there. I don't want to say too much about this because I don't want to risk spoiling anyone, but if you are interested in the series or have read some of it, this is the latest installment, available later this month. I'm just going to kind of leave this on the screen quick, and I'll leave you with Grumpy Damarin while I just hop into the other room and reheat my tea. I'll be gone for like a minute. See, I have a warmer. Oh, you can't see it because Damarin. Hang on. I do have a warmer and it works pretty well, but you see how tall my mug is? When my mug is full, it doesn't work as well, I think because it's so tall. But once I drink down like a third of it, keeps it warm. So now if I heat my coffee now, it should stay warm. But yeah, so I will be BRB. Hey, Sage Loki. Happy time zone to you as well. What are you up to today? Okay. Back. Good, thanks. And you just doing a bit of work on Hell's Story, as well as learning about one of my extraterrestrial races. And waiting for some cosplay stuff to arrive. Nice! I'm doing pretty good. It's Friday. I've got to, like, my brain is taking a while to start up, but I think it's gonna be okay. I think I've had just enough coffee now that I can speak words again, which is good. Just writing a little and desperately trying to learn to play darts so I can beat my dad. It isn't going well. I'm so bad at darts, so good luck. I think it takes a lot of practice. I also don't necessarily understand how darts is scored. Like, I used to think that you're supposed to aim for, like, the middle of the board, but now I think it's more complicated than that, so good luck. Is there a way to buy your books but not on Amazon? Currently, the only way to buy my books not on Amazon is to buy them in non-digital format. My books are exclusive to Amazon so that I can make use of the Kindle Unlimited program because I actually make more money from page reads than I do from sales most of the time. Because I'm so unknown, I think people are more willing to give my stuff a try if they don't have to pay to specifically read. But if it's a formatting issue, Neo, if you're looking for something that will work on a Kobo or non-Kindle device, send me a PM because I can always give you, if you purchase the book, in Kindle format and need it in another format, I can always convert it for you and send you a file that will work on another e-reader. Writing hat is on. No work to be done. I'm ready. Yes! AB Coffee. Good luck. Marathon. Hello. I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Are you chilling for the evening? I know you can order some online Barnes & Noble, but they don't do any in-store. Yeah. You can order my paperbacks through extended distribution. I will be honest and say I make much less royalty if you order them that way. I make more fair royalties if you order them through Amazon. But I understand not everyone likes Amazon and not everyone wants to use Amazon. So you can buy my books in paperback format in other stores. In France, I'm not sure. Here, I know you should be able to get them through, like, Barnes & Noble and that sort of thing. But, like I said, Neo, if it's a formatting issue, let me know, because I can always send you... I bought 3 things on Amazon in the past, never received them. They never gave me my money back. Oh no, that's awful! Are you interested in digital formats or hardcover formats, Neo? Relaxing indeed? Good to hear. Alright. I have one whole sentence planned for this scene. So this is either going to be a unexpectedly productive sprint, or there's going to be a lot of silence after I type the first sentence. Let me just check quickly. Let's do 20 minutes on the clock and see what my brain does this morning. Ooh, the hat. Prefer physical books over digital. Okay. Neo, we can talk in DMs. Alright, we got the hat. Make sure you guys can see the hat. Ew, yuck, paper? Oh, that you didn't get your money back. That makes more sense. Yeah, that's a lot of money to not get back. Tenants downstairs being loud. If they are being loud, hopefully you guys can't hear them. I'm adjusting the music volume. If it's too loud for you guys on stream, please let me know. silly thing to get stuck on is this word, but that makes more sense than... Sugras! Yeah, I was trying to decide if I wanted to use Arboretum or Conservatory, but I think Conservatory fits better. How are you, Sugras? Had a booster yesterday and feeling a little feverish. Sorry to hear that, Sugras, but thank you for being responsible and getting your booster shot. We all appreciate that. I hope you're able to get some rest today and feel better tomorrow. If you want to say, which version of the booster did you get? I'm curious, because some of them seem to hit a little harder than others. Pfizer? That's the one I've had. All of my shots have been Pfizer. Ghost had the the triple special, I guess. He had one of each, Moderna, Pfizer, and AstraZeneca. I wanted one of each, but they wouldn't let me. Yeah, well, the AstraZeneca they've discontinued now, but I think that was the one that hit him hardest. Was the AstraZeneca. We will do character fact as soon as we reach the end of the spring timer. And that was also a good choice. I gotta do some thinking. Here is a hydrate for you, Angelique. How are you today? Do you know how to use the Twitch emotes? Because you have been gifted access to them. So there should be, if you look in where you type the chat, there should be a little smiley face there. And if you click on the smiley face, it should bring up a little place that says Starborn Striker, and you should see a bunch of these little things there. And if you click on one of them, you should be able to use those. Shagraz. Oh my goodness. They were made by It's Mumbles. Nice use of the angel emote, Shagraz. I approve. Yeah, there you go, Angelique. Enjoy those. Use them for evil, not good. All right, 698 words in that first sprint. I think we have done hat time. Marathon, I hope you enjoyed the hat. Not bad, almost 700 words on a first sprint. Not bad considering the cobwebs in my brain and the fact that I had no plan for the scene at all when I started. This is the best. Yes, yes. Now that you've discovered emotes, enjoy them. I don't know how much you know about Twitch, Angelique, but basically anyone who streams and is affiliate status can upload custom emotes, and you can subscribe to their channel for a small fee every month in order to support them and gain access to their emotes. So lots of people like to collect a bunch of different emotes from a bunch of different places. And one of my regulars, Bruce Campbell Soup, gifted you that sub yesterday while I wasn't even streaming, which was amazing. So we'll be sure to thank him. But I know that you're newish to Twitch, so I wanted to make sure you knew how to access the emotes. Barely Bookish, hello! Thank you for the appreciation of the hat. That's my Jack Skellington hat. I ran all over the Magic Kingdom to buy that, and I'm so glad that everybody loves it as much as me. 4:10 for me, although it was only the first 15 minutes or so. My lunch timer went off. Lunch, very important. Also, 4:10, not a word count to shake a stick at. Totally awesome. I'm the only one without emotes. Oh, Neo, I know you have emotes because you have used some truly horrifying emotes in my chat. Let me just make sure, because I know I missed some stuff during the sprint. And then we'll do a Kazella fact. This is why I avoid Amazon. They went, you'll get your money next week too. We can't find any transactions. Oh my goodness. I don't know how the customer service is in your area, Neo, but here you usually have to poke at them a bit to get them to do anything, which is annoying. Usually they offer you like a gift card if you push enough, but I also usually have to call them at some point, so... almost all the books I own are paperbacks except for my vintage Nancy Drew, Dana Girls, and Hardy Boys are ones that are in hardcover. Yeah, I have a lot of paperbacks as well. I have started doing a lot of digital just because it's easier to just get like a collection for my Kindle and carry it with me on travel or whatever. But there is something about having a physical book in your hands, about, you know, the smell of old paper and ink and all that. So, yeah, I get it. But books are expensive as well, which I also get. So, you know, they're an expensive hobby. He's got that limited edition stuff. Must be nice. Who's got the limited edition stuff? Oh, Ghost and the AstraZeneca, yeah. The AstraZeneca was not... It wasn't a great experience, so... And some of his coworkers had a really rough time with it, so he wasn't very thrilled about it. My brain is like, think of something. It's not normal to chill. Oh, no, Neo, no! You have to rest! That... I have to say that, I need to do something, I don't know how to rest, is a very Dahmerin trait as well. Like, he's notorious for not resting when he needs to rest. Just finished up my lunch, and now I'm getting up to working. Nice! I hope you had a good lunch, Fairly Bookish. We're gonna do another 20-minute word sprint here in a couple minutes. But we had to redeem for a character fact, and Lomi chose a character, Kizella, who I haven't talked about a lot on stream yet, so this is a good opportunity. One of the characters who's in my Aravalia Chronicles series, and one of my sort of favorite characters to work with because she's very interesting and different. Only managed like 262, struggled with this one because it was a split roads moment and I spent a while choosing which way to go. That happens. Like sometimes you gotta take that time to think. I hope, it sounds like you may have decided which way to go, so I hope that now that you've chosen a direction that the words will flow for you. So yeah, my Aravalia Chronicles, you can see down under current project there. Is my modern fantasy setting. So basically, if you imagine sort of Lord of the Rings in modern day, it's a world very like our own, except there's magic, there's fairies, there's like a fairy delivery service that uses mobile phones as like little portals. They can just like pop in and out of your phone, deliver packages instantly. It's very cool. I am not necessarily talking about the original version of Kizella here because she existed in a different form before this, but I think it'll be cool to talk about her in this setting because she is a character that does pop up in the first part of the series. She worked for a very powerful adept sorcerer who's somewhat known for his isolation by the name of the Warden. He is known outside of, you know, himself and his work as the Warden. That's sort of the cautionary name that people have given to him. But she calls him Jonathan. She's very familiar with him. She worked as sort of almost like his secretary, like kind of organizing things for him, making sure that he was able to get the supplies and stuff that he needed. And the two of them were involved in a very strong, dangerous, magical experiment that went awry, caused a massive explosion, injured them both, and actually turned all of the sand in the desert surrounding the Warden's Tower white, moon white, to the point where it's now called the Moonshadow Dunes. And as a result of some of the weird sort of reality-altering things that happened during this explosion, Kizella actually developed sort of an immunity to magic. So she was pretty much just a normal human lady before that, you know, I won't say unremarkable because she's pretty remarkable in personality. But during this explosion, which clearly altered the things surrounding it, she was altered in such a way that one of the visual things that happened to her was sort of her eyes were kind of seared so that they no longer have an iris and a pupil. Her eyes are just all color. But the most drastic thing that happened was sort of her genetics, I guess, were modified so that when magic comes into contact with her, instead of taking effect, it's just sort of diverted. Almost like she absorbs it and then just sort of diverts it away, like back into its natural state. Which isn't really a talent that anybody, like, this isn't really a thing that people can do. So in a way, it's a little bit of a helpful thing because there are very powerful mages in this world, and she kind of can't be hurt by them, which is nice. But she also can't really control this ability, so she can't turn it on and off. And the downside is that this also means that helpful magic, such as healing magic, which would allow, say, a healer to close her wounds when she's injured, also doesn't work. So it's sort of that double-edged sword of, like, she has this special protection in this world full of really powerful magics that she clearly has interacted with because she's been scarred by it. But she also is sort of not able to access the more helpful magic in her world either. So it's a little bit of, yay, I can do dangerous things, but also I have to be really careful when I do those dangerous things because if I hurt myself, I hurt myself. I knew she'd be a cool fit in that setting. Yeah, it's totally cool to talk about too because her original concept, originally in like sort of the first time I wrote Kizella, she was more of like an immortal demon type character, and so a lot of her powers, a lot of her things that she could do were innate. But in this world, which is sort of much more interesting to me, she's just a normal person who came on hard times, started working for this really powerful guy who gave her a chance to turn her life around, and then she encountered this experience that like completely altered not just her life but her, right? And so the way that she interacts with the world post that experience is completely different. And so it's almost like she got a superpower, but it's not all good, right? Because she can't just be like, yeah, I'm gonna help defend against these really powerful sorcerers, because then if she gets, physically injured, her life could be in danger in a way that other people's wouldn't, because she wouldn't be able to have access to this like part of healthcare, right? Is she an anti-hero type of character? I would say that in terms of like character archetypes, Kizella is kind of a supporting character. She attaches herself to other people that she cares about or is interested in, and most of the risks that she takes and most of the things that she does center around supporting those people, keeping those people safe. I say, like, she can't exactly do dangerous things cavalierly, but she may choose to still do dangerous things for one of these people that she's sort of attached herself to and cares about, right? So she's kind of the sort of person who remakes herself a little bit depending on who she's around and what they're trying to do. So she's very much a support character. And I think it's important to have interesting side characters. Like, obviously Kizella has her own plot, and it's sort of in the background, sort of woven into the main plot of these books. She's not necessarily a main character, but I think it's really important to have interesting side characters with fully developed stories, because that's what's really going to make your world pop, is to show that there are other things going on with other people while my main characters are off doing whatever the main plot is. So, that's a little bit about Kizella. I hope that satisfies your channel points, Lomi. And thank you for choosing a character that I don't get to talk about a lot. Artemis can't sit still either. She's constantly wandering and exploring. That makes sense given her nature. More importantly, what kind of dairy is she? Let's see. I guess I should be reading these out loud. Acts mean and sometimes violent on the outside, but sweet on the inside. Acts sweet and cute on the outside, but when she loves someone, they are willing to kill just to stay with them. Acts cool and unemotional, but shows their sweet side over time. Acts quiet and silent, even unemotional at times, until eventually revealing that they're actually just shy. Acts entirely sweet and energetic towards every person they meet. Well, I have a character that's definitely this one, but it's not Kizella. Acts very similar to Sundari, but with a god complex, may or may not have actual godly powers, so she's definitely not that one. Acts very similar to Kamidari, but is... I'm gonna say all these wrong, by the way, but is treated like a princess, though usually actually princesses, that is not always the case. Acts very indifferent. Sometimes she will be nice and other times she will act cold. Acts very nice and is very agreeable. Answers people with yes, yeah, yep, etc. Usually likes the character from the beginning. Acts like a Sundari, only she initially tries to kill the character but switches sides after falling in love with them. I think, oh my goodness. I think that, Kizella, it depends on the setting. But I think, this particular, Kizella would be this one. Is it Kudari? Is that how you would say that? Kudari? I can't speak Japanese, but I think she seems really emotionless on the outside, especially because of her altered appearance. But she's actually just really sweet. Like, once she knows that she can trust you, she's like really sweet and really loyal. But in some of the other settings, I think there's definitely a little hint of the yandere. Like, once she attaches herself to someone enough, it doesn't matter how sweet and cute she is, she will kill to protect those that she loves. So there you go, AB Coffee. I hope that's a satisfying answer. Hell is definitely a kuderi. Nice. During my stream, I wrote about a misanthrope person saving the world and saving people. It's hard to find a way to save people, but yet hating all of them. Yeah, I imagine if you hate people, it's hard to be like, I'm gonna save you. I was gonna say Kudare. Yeah, I think she seems like very cold on the outside, but she's actually Kudare. Okay. Kudare. I'm probably still saying it wrong because, let's be honest, I can't words today. Yay, I did it! Some of them I know, like Yandere and Sundere, I've heard of before, so I know a few of them. I'm going to take a quick bio break because I have been streaming for a little over an hour. Just going to get up, stretch my legs, use the washroom. If anyone needs to grab a drink, have a quick stretch break, whatever, now's a good time. We'll come back and do another 20-minute word sprint and see if we can all get some more words in. Okay, I am back. So I'm feeling pretty happy about the opening of this scene, but I do feel a little bit like, I don't know if, did I actually adjust that, or did I just pull on it? I don't know if you ever have this experience, but for me, sometimes when I'm writing a scene, I feel like I spend too much time on one thing, and then I'm like, at this rate, it's going to take me 3 million years to get to my goal. So I kind of have an end point in mind for this scene, and I feel like I'm taking like forever to get there. So I do kind of have the goal for myself in the next sprint to try and move the scene ahead a bit, to try and move towards the goal a bit more, because I'm spending a lot of time in the beginning stages. So if you hear me muttering to myself, that's what I'm muttering about. The name of my character is, oh my gosh, I'm going to say this horribly wrong. Is it Eudix? It means judge in Latin. He's supposed to be an invisible judge, but he can't resist talking shit to people. Saving people in the world is not what he wants, but if he doesn't save people, the gods will kill him. Interesting. I guess that would kind of make you want to do something if you were gonna die otherwise. He's an arrogant, egoist person. I hate him so much. Interesting, but you must enjoy writing him if you continue to do so. Have to adjust the mat under my computer. I'm going to put another 20 minutes on the clock. I almost said seconds. Not much word's gonna get done in 20 seconds. I spend the first 30 seconds of every sprint staring in panic at the blinking cursor. Alright, let's do these. Flannelsaurus, hello! How are you? I saw your post in the Discord earlier, so I imagine you're not the happiest today. Do you need hugs? Because we can send them to you. Flanny very sore. Oh yeah, that's true. I guess you would have been working yesterday or last night. I hope you are chillaxing, getting some rest. You had regional elections as well, Neo. There's a provincial election here yesterday, and Flannel worked it. I remember you said you were going to. How did the work go? I know how the voting went, but how did the work go? Was it pretty smooth? Did you have any troublemakers that you had to deal with? I was out of school, so the chair I got to use was one of those little ones that the back comes up under the midpoint of my back. Oh no! Yeah, I can imagine it wasn't the most comfortable chair. It was fairly smooth. We only had one bad instance, but we killed them with kindness. Nice. I really like the team I worked with. My job was ID checking and ballot handling. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you only had one sort of not so great person to deal with, because I know people can get really pushy when it comes to this sort of thing. So that's good. I know you weren't too thrilled with the election results, and honestly, I'm not either, though. There's not much we can do. Peter, hello, how are you? It's the most awesome Wednesday, the Wednesday that comes before Saturday. I heard someone yelling. Feel like I feel like I wanted the sprint to be over when I got to this part, and now there's like 2 more minutes, and I'm like, I need more time to think. I'd like to create a lore, but I don't know how. I have ideas, but nothing solid. I mean, really, creating a lore is just kind of finding a way to string a bunch of different ideas together, like creating rules or stories or, you know, like norms within the worlds that you're writing about, which explain why the other ideas that you have work or exist or how they fit into the world, if that makes sense. I mean, at its heart, lore is kind of the rule book that you're establishing for yourself to use for your world or your setting, and then it in turn, it becomes the stories and the sort of myths or the laws or whatever of the world that you're working for. So it's first for you, and then it becomes for the people in your world. Look at me procrastinating for a solid 60 seconds. Stop mid-sentence. There we go. So we're at 1,670 words total. And we started that sprint. I feel like that sprint went a bit better than the first one. Where did I start? I don't remember. Was this where I stopped the first time? That seems right. So I think I started there. Might be off by a few words, but 986, that seems about right. Just shy of 1,000 words. So we're at 1,670 total. I do feel like I fulfilled my goal of moving the scene forward. I'm definitely sort of in the transition between where I wanted to start and where I wanted to go. Now I kind of feel like I have to have some kind of confrontation, some kind of moment of where I take the tension that's sort of brewing in the background and bring it to its head. So probably that's what I'm going to try to do in the next sprint, and then if I don't reach the end after doing that, then we'll aim for an ending in the next sprint after that. 452 for me. Nice, AB Coffee. That's great. Let's see. I know I missed some stuff. I like writing him. I like to put him in some nasty situations, and maybe he'll change his mind about humans because a simple idiot farmer saved him. Nice! That sounds like the basis for a really good story. Story makes no sense, but I write it for fun. It makes perfect sense, Neo. I hope you can hear me right now. It makes perfect sense. It's a story that makes sense. Even as a Kuderi, Hell did what she did during the devastation of her own free will. She doesn't like the idea of corpses rising and reanimating, so she wanted to know who, what, and or why, so she could put an end to it, or at least help doing so. Of course. Sounds like she takes her responsibilities pretty seriously. How did your regional elections go, Neo? If you want to say. You don't have to say. We call those weekend Wednesdays. Those are my favorite Wednesdays. There's the first week Wednesday, then there's the second week Wednesday, then the day after that is Wednesday, followed by Wednesday, actual Wednesday, Wednesday, and the final Wednesday before back to weekend Wednesdays. It's complicated, but it makes sense. Have you tried tools like World Anvil? I don't know what their options look like, but I think there's a free option and people like it. I know Ghost has started using World Anvil for Winds of Chaos. He's still trying to get a hang of the system, so he isn't totally sold on it yet. But I believe that World Anvil is sort of like, it allows you to create wiki-style pages that interlink, and basically like you can use it to describe parts of your world and how they fit together and your characters and whatnot, and sort of build yourself an encyclopedia that you use. I've never used World Anvil, but I know a lot of writers on Twitch do use it. And it's especially good for if you're playing like a D&D campaign or something like that. I know a lot of people use it for that, but you can also use it for like your fantasy novels or whatever. Also not a sponsor. Like I said, I've never used it. It can format your ideas into kind of like a Wikipedia thing, and you can see how it's all linked. Exactly. The Learn My Stories is kind of funky. It's partly ancient mythology, but then there's also undead corpses and extraterrestrials and my own deity-like beings, so it's all over the place. I mean, that's how you do it, essentially, is like, yes, you have your inspirations, of course, but make it your own. Like, add your own things to it, change it in the ways that make you happy, like, do the things that interest you and sort of weave those into whatever core you started with. And then that's essentially how you make a lore. You just sort of build it one layer, one section of onion at a time, essentially. Up to 820 words. Not sure how many I started with. Nice. She takes her responsibilities. What are words? She takes her responsibilities super seriously. She has a lot of respect for the dead, so she wants to make sure they get what they deserve in terms of a good afterlife. I like that. I think that we tend to think of, when we think of like necromancy, we have like this certain idea of, you know, people being sinister and having sinister intent. So I kind of like when people turn that trope on the head and sort of have people who are involved in, you know, death or necromancy actually having it be about the dead and about respecting the dead and making sure that, like, you know, that good things are happening post-life versus bad things happening post-life. Words, is that because you're sad about the words that are on the screen right now, Wolf, or because you're sad about how hard words are? I don't... I'm not sure why you're lamenting words right now, but let us know. Let us know why you lament. Words are hard. Yo, big mood. Words are very hard. I like the song. Oh, it's called Speedy Gonzalez. I have to get that thing. I tried to get a, plugin that would show what's playing on my, Spotify on the stream, and I could never get it working. So I have to try to get that working again. We've got a stretch. Thank you, Angelique, for taking care of the streamer. I think we're gonna start another sprint here in a moment as well. Ooh, this stretch feels good. You never realize, like, how sort of curled in on yourself you get when you're just sitting for a long time until you actually stretch. Working on an email and just reading it over 20 times, editing to make sure the words are right. Oh, yeah. Anything... When I have to send an email, I hate it, because I always feel like I just kind of give up in the end, and I'm like, whatever, hopefully it's good enough. Hopefully people understand what I'm saying and it's not insanely awkward. So I hate writing emails. Anything that's like an official communication, especially with someone I don't know very well, I'm just like, I hate it. A lot of my death underworld deities actually care a lot about the dead. They see their job as just as important as other deities, so they work hard to do the best for the souls. Yeah, I like that. It makes sense. Just because you're dealing with the dead instead of the living doesn't mean you get to slack. Oh my goodness. Okay. I want to stress that the 1,670 words that I've written today have largely just been off the cuff, off the top of my head. I haven't really planned any of this out, aside from having a vague idea of where I want this to end. So now I need to figure out how I want this confrontation to go down. Also, I said I stopped mid-sentence, but now I kind of don't remember. I kind of don't remember what the rest of that sentence was going to be. Uh-oh, I don't remember what the rest of the sentence is gonna be. Kiki, hi, how are you? What are you up to today? We're just about to start another writing sprint, but I'm just having mild crisis because I stopped in the middle of a sentence and now I don't remember what the rest of that sentence was gonna be. Doesn't mean you get to slack, and it doesn't mean you're evil or sinister. Yes, that too. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, I'm just struggling to remember where I was gonna go with this scene. I might actually, I know I just took a break right before the last sprint, but I might just do a quick AFK, just because I think if I get up and move away from my computer, it will shake loose this whatever I was thinking of that I suddenly forgot. Sometimes if you're staring at the words, you panic a little bit. So I apologize for doing 2 BRBs that are close-ish together, but this will probably be the last one before the end of stream. So Neo wants a character fact about Damarin. Do you have, this is kind of a weird question, but do you have a preference which Damarin? I know I've mentioned a couple of different settings for Damarin, so if you have a specific Damarin that you want a character fact about, let me know. Otherwise, I will default to the Aravalia Chronicles Damarin, or I could, if you prefer, do the Assassin Damarin, which is the one we're writing about today. Hey, the Roaring Girl, how are you? What is up? I seem to remember you were in the process of finishing up a move the last time we talked, so I hope that's going well. I hope the unpacking is going well. I will give you a moment to answer, Neo, before I pop AFK. Otherwise, I'll pop AFK and answer when I get back. I like the music that it's playing right now. Damarin's childhood. So you want Aravalia Chronicles Damarin's childhood, or do you want Assassin Damarin's childhood? Because they're very, very different. I have finished moving. Unpacking will continue for a while because I've gotten the main room set up and I don't feel pressure to get the rest. Nice! Yeah, I always have like stages of unpacking where it's like, there are core rooms that need to be functional right away, and then I slow down a little bit to get the rest of the house organized, and then I sort of hit a point where everything's fine, and we stay at that stage for like a year before I'm finally like, oh yeah, I shoved a box into that closet and I didn't pay attention to it for like a year. Maybe I should actually, I don't know, unpack it. Which probably reveals a lot about me. But yeah, I definitely have stages of unpacking, and the first stage is like, this room has to be comfortable and functional, and then the last stage of unpacking is like, I'll get to that someday. I feel moved in, but I have a lot of boxes still packed in other rooms. Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense. Like, once the house is functional, you can at least slow down. Aruvalia, no, you typed it right. Neo. And it's a made-up word anyway, so, okay. So some information about Aravalia Chronicles Damarin childhood. So Damarin is an only child, which is not specifically unusual among elves. The elves in the Aravalia Chronicles, kind of like the elves in the setting that I mentioned this morning, though they tend to live for a very long time, they also tend to have small families, usually not more than 1 or 2 children, often born quite far apart. Elves in this setting take about 90 years to reach maturity, so they grow at a much slower rate. Probably their first couple of years, like, they don't stay as like babies longer. They sort of match humans in terms of their development up to, you know, about age 5 or 6. And then they start to slow down a little bit. And so their later childhood years and their adolescence is more extended. It takes longer. So they end up being in what we would consider primary school for a lot longer because they are that age for a lot longer. But they also tend to do things like attend school for a year and then take a year or 2 off, depending on your socioeconomic status and whatnot. So it does take about 90 years for an elf to reach maturity. Damarin is about 360 some odd years when the story starts. So he is young for an elf, but not like young. He's been an adult for a while. When he, the reason he is a only child is because his mother nearly died giving birth to him. It was a very near thing. She was very close to expiring. The baby, he was fine the whole time. It was mostly the mother's life who was in danger. They were able to save her. She wanted more children, but because she came so close to dying during death, her husband did not, he refused. He didn't want to repeat that experience, so Dameron is an only child. He primarily attended military academies. His father was a general in the Aravalian military. He took it very seriously. He intended for Dameron to follow in his footsteps. So he attended military boarding schools, which means once he reached a certain age, he was packed off to school for a year at a time. He spent that year in the boarding school, away from home, away from his parents, and then he would come home for the summer period, the summering period, which is usually a year. So it was like 1 year on, 1 year off. Kiki, you got your account back! That's amazing! I'm so happy! So anyway, Dameron's early years were very structured, very strict. His father had that kind of, you know how in our world we talk about children should be seen and not heard? His father was very much of the opinion that, he basically treated little Dameron the way he would have treated any of his soldiers, that he should be very disciplined, very organized, very calm. Which is not to say that Dameron was never encouraged to play or never had any chance to be imaginative or childlike in his childhood, but his childhood was very rigidly structured. And I would say also that although Dameron has a very strained relationship with his father in the present day, when he was younger, he very much idolized his father and looked up to him and wanted to be like him, which is one of the reasons why he trained so hard at sword, because he's a very skilled warrior, especially with the sword. And it's why he favored the sword as his first training weapon. So he very much sort of spent a lot of time emulating his father, learning to hunt and fight, and all that sort of thing. And he studied military tactics and military history in university, in part because he intended to follow in his father's footsteps and to become a soldier, and he wanted to impress him. And the last thing I'll say about Dameron's childhood, 'cause it's been pretty comprehensive, is that when he was young, shortly after he was born, he was promised to a duchess to be married. So arranged marriages among misborn nobles, which is where Dameron was born, is very common. Usually when the child is born, the parents will make arrangements with another noble family, promising that the two children will be wed when they come of age. And so Dameron was supposed to be married to a duchess, which his father was very pleased about, because Dameron is actually only an earl, which means he's actually very low on the totem pole of nobility, so he would be marrying well above his station. But Dameron realized when he reached adolescence that he had no interest in women, and the woman that he was supposed to be married to did not want an arranged marriage. She wanted a love match. And so the families broke off that engagement, and he was never married. He was born into a rich family. His mother is an RLS, or he's an earl. So he's very low, like I said, very low on the nobility totem pole. He's just sort of one step up from a commoner. If you look at the way things are structured, there would be, it's sort of earl, and then I think it's count, viscount, and then duke is sort of right beneath royalty. So he would have been marrying well above his station had he actually married the Duchess, but their engagement was broken off. Had to change the phone number. I probably gave my newest account to my brother because he wanted to stream games on Twitch. Nice! I'm just glad you got your original account back, Kiki. It had to suck to be stuck on another one for a while. Hestia's childhood was traumatic, to say the least. Getting swallowed alive by your dad and having to grow up in his stomach is not fun. Yeah, I don't imagine there was a lot of... I don't imagine there was a lot of, you know, childhood activities going on in a stomach. Neil, I hope that fulfilled your desire to know more about Domrin and your channel points. If there was anything I missed, let me know. I'm going to take a quick AFK, like I said, and then we'll come back and do another sprint. I really like Domrin. He feels so real. His story is great. You're super talented. Oh my gosh, Neo, thank you so much. You made my day by saying that. I try to do a lot of development of even my side characters. I try to do a lot of development of their history, because I believe that a character's decisions and the way that they react to things is based on their experience, right? So I need to know about a character's experience in order to know how they would make decisions. And so I do try to have sort of a developed idea, sometimes more detailed, sometimes less. But Domrin actually, when he, I mentioned that he and his father have a strained relationship. When he and his father sort of hit breaking points, Domrin actually gave up his right to his noble title and left home to build a life for himself outside of his parents' money and influence. So the fact that he was born into nobility is a big deal, but it's also important to know that he rejected that life. I think that may be where a lot of her anxieties come from. Oh, yeah. I can see how a traumatic experience like that would make you anxious. Okay, I am going to step away from my keyboard for just 2 minutes here and shake loose whatever weird thing is happening in my brain. Hopefully remember where I was going with this sentence. And then we'll come back and write some more words. Janine, hello! How are you? We're just doing a quick AFK, so I will speak to you more as soon as I get back. Excuse you, mister, I am not a napkin. I like it. Why am I so off center? How did I mess up my camera so badly? OMG. His family was not angry about him having no interest for women. His mother was not. His father was very angry because his father had ambitions, and when Dameron ended up not going through with the arranged marriage, it kind of messed up all of his plans. He sounds like a person I'd be friends with. I do think you and Dameron would get along, Neo. Based on what I know of your no-nonsense personality and your attention to detail and wanting things done correctly and safely, all things that Dameron appreciates. But yeah, once we sort of get into the conflict with his father, we sort of exit childhood territory. So, there you go. Although I will say, because elves mature so slowly and because they live for so long, they tend to be encouraged to learn a wide variety of skills, and one of the skills that most elves pick up at some point in time, usually because their parents make them when they're young, is musical instruments. So Dameron actually plays 3 musical instruments because he was told when he was young that he had no choice about the first 2, and the third one he chose for himself. Schnauzer type dogs like to wipe their beards on you after drinking water. I can imagine, yes. Not sure if this is all right to ask, but I'm curious, do you have a story about the succession of the title, given that he's an only child? I do, but I can't share it because it's actually one of the novel plots. I'm actually plotting that particular part of the story right now. So it is something that will come up in the story. So originally, when Dameron left home, he was like, I don't care what happens to the title, you can shove it. But unfortunately, as Dameron often learns, none of his problems are as easy to solve as he thinks they're going to be. So the fact that he is an only child and works a very dangerous job is going to come up, and people are going to be like, oh, hey, by the way, someone needs to inherit this title someday. Oh, I'm so glad that you guys are interested. Sometimes I think about these things and I'm like, is that interesting? Is it boring to get into like the nitty-gritty like background politics of this world? But like I said before, I think those are the kind of things like, yeah, a lot of the story is about Dameron fighting these fantastical creatures or these really powerful, clever, enemies, and trying to foil, evil plots that are going to, destroy the kingdom that he protects. But also, in order for that world to feel real, and in order for his, life and his struggles to feel real, some of it has to also be like, hey, by the way, you're the only child, and you're an earl, and you're probably gonna die at some point, so, like, what's up with that? I love Succession Crises. I think you'll like this. I think you'll like what comes up in this one. So, yeah, it's cool sometimes too, like, yeah, you have all of these big epic things going on, but then you're like, but what happens when he goes home at the end of the day? And, like, sometimes there's all these little dramas that add nuance to the world and the story and remind you that even, like, your big heroes are just normal people. And so I feel like it's important to pay attention to that kind of stuff. I love when the characters have a background. In a lot of books, the characters have a background, but it's not linked to the story. It seems like you've linked background to story, and I love that because it makes it feel real. I can see that person because it feels legit. Exactly. And I mean, not every detail of every character's history does play into the ultimate plot. Like, some of this stuff is just stuff that I know that will never actually come up in novels. But I feel like I said, because I write character-driven fiction, a lot of how we inform our decisions or make our decisions are based on our experiences, right? Like, I I have a rough time making decisions. I'm a very indecisive person, and looking back over my history, I can see where that comes from, right? So having a really good grounding in where a person came from and how their mind works informs that character-driven fiction, and that's why a lot of those details sort of end up being relevant again, right? Because my characters are driving my story, and history talks, history walks. So I've grown up with the mini variety of Schnauzer, so I feel like I know. Is it Garmer? Is that how you say that? I'm sorry if I said it wrong. I feel like I know his personality really well already. Yes, I love having pets to base characters off of as well. All right, I did think about where the rest of the sentence was supposed to go while I was AFK, and I don't think I recaptured the original, but I do think I know what I was at least, thinking. I said it right! Yes! I'm so bad with names, guys. I can't stress enough, if I ever say your name wrong, even if I say it wrong repeatedly, please correct me, because I want to say it right. I'm just really bad with... We've kind of talked about this before, but I rearrange the letters in names. I never do that with other words. I'm not dyslexic, but when it's names, I somehow read names wrong all the time, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna say it wrong and panic, or if it's just a thing, because I even do that when I'm not reading them out loud. So just disclaimer, if I ever say your name or your character's name or a word, because I've said plenty of words wrong lately on stream, please don't feel bad about correcting me. I want to say things right. I'm just bad at it. Let's do another writing sprint. Also, AB Coffee, I remember you saying that you were going to have to leave town sometime around this time. So if you are heading off soon and or during the sprint, please take care. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. It's always fun to talk to you. I just didn't want to miss saying farewell and good luck on your trip if I get too absorbed in what I'm doing. So good luck on your trip. I hope we see you next week. All right, 20 minutes. Let's clicky clack. Nina and Kittens, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the stream. How are you? No worries, AB Coffee. If you stick around, if you're able to stick around longer, that's cool. I just didn't want to miss saying saying hey and bye. Bad with names sometimes as well. That's why I look up pronunciations. Yes, I appreciate that I live in an age when I can look things up and have someone say it to me most of the time. Unless it's a name that I made up, then I have to figure out how to say it for myself. So happy to be here working on a chaos project right now. No plan, just writing when I feel like it. Nice! Well, we just started a 20-minute sprint, Nina. I hope you're able to make use of it. And if not, feel free, you know, obviously to write at your own pace. Usually I'm a tad more productive than I have been today, but it's Friday, so I've been a little bit more tangenty today. I've previously outlined a lot, but I missed the way I started out as a writer, so I went back, and so far I don't regret anything. I will be honest, I have some projects that I outline a lot, like a ton, and I have some projects that I only outline rudimentarily, and then I do things like what I'm doing today, which is just sort of a random prompt, just a random, for fun, free writing thing, which I go into with no plans at all, because sometimes you just gotta write what's in your brain and let it all come out, and I find that that helps me stay fresh and interested in my more planned projects. Supernatural writer, how are you? You're right, I should be writing and not talking. But how are you, and what are you up to today? I believe in you. Ooh, a hydrate for Kiki. Thank you so much. Neo, sleep well. Please spend this week getting some rest. Take care of yourself. Like, sincerely, we care about you. We want to see you happy and healthy. So take care. Do as the doctor ordered. Do not work. And thank you for hanging out. I know it says break time, but I feel like I'm like 3 seconds from the end of this, so I'm just gonna finish it. Kiki, enjoy your lurk. I am finished. I definitely think that I went outside the bounds of the prompt a bit, but I don't care because I'm really happy with what I wrote, and I don't think I would have written something like this if it weren't for the prompt. I started here, I remember, because it was the sentence that I couldn't figure out how I was going to finish. That's 1,346 words, but I do think I went, I don't know how many minutes over the sprint timer, but I definitely went over the sprint timer. But that brings us to 3,100, not 3,100, that's not what it says. It's right there, I can't read. 3,016 words. I don't know what my brain was thinking how numbers work there. 3,016 words total, which is pretty perfect, I think, for something that's just meant to be a cute little short. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I don't know how well it fits the prompt, but I'm happy with it, so I don't care. 312 words, Nina, that's awesome. I did do it. I was a little unsure through most of this process, but I did in fact do it. Oh, Nina, thank you for using the books command. I know it says this in my profile, but I write sci-fi and fantasy. So if you're looking for a more sci-fi story, check out my Celestial Serenade, which is my space opera currently being released. I think every year I try to put out 3 installments in that. The 5th book is coming out this month. And if you're more into the fantasy, check out Dreamer's July. It's my epic fantasy retelling of Dante's Inferno. Up to 902 words, that's awesome, Laurel Tabby. And let me just scroll back up because I know I missed a few things here. I'm bad with names sometimes as well. That's why I look up pronunciations. Yes, I remember we talked about that. I appreciate that as well. Roaring Girl, is your username a reference to something or just for fun? When I get back, I'll explain the reference. Nice. Bad with words in general. I mean, sometimes I am too. Especially like if you learn a word from reading it and never really hear it spoken out loud, sometimes it can be really challenging to figure out how it's actually pronounced. And I know I've run into a few words that I've really only encountered not out loud, and then when I hear them out loud, I'm like, wait, that's how you pronounce that? I write like this because I'm a pure amateur and I can't get a structure, so I write whatever I have in mind, but with a theme and 2 or 3 recurrent characters. Gosh, Neil already went to bed, so I can't tell him that everything he writes is not boring, but to anyone who writes without structure and just for fun, that's fine. Even if you hope to one day publish a novel, you don't have to start with structure. I often don't pay attention to story structure until after my first draft is finished. It's something that I try to pay attention to and make sure is working in my first major editing pass. But I think that you can successfully write a story, especially a rough draft, without having a structure. Things will naturally feel good or awkward as like when you read back through it anyway. So even if you're not paying a ton of attention to a structure, you'll be able to feel your way through it. Believe in yourself. We've reached the oh shit portion of the stream. Gonna finish this first draft today if it kills me. Supernatural writer, you can do it. It won't kill you. I believe in you. The end, the finish line always seems to move when you're right next to the end, but you're gonna get there today. Just need to stop being distracted. That is the key, and Friday is a hard day to not be distracted. How is everyone today? I'm doing pretty good. I had a slow start to the morning, I will admit, but I've shaken off the cobwebs now, doing quite a bit better now that I've had a cup of coffee, hung out with you guys, written some words. Looking forward to this weekend because tomorrow Ghost and I are going out for a nice dinner for my birthday. We did have pizza and wine for my actual birthday, but we're doing our sort of celebration of my birthday tomorrow by going to a restaurant slightly out of town that a friend recommended to us, new to us. But this particular friend is married to a chef, so if he thinks this is a good restaurant, it's probably a good restaurant. We're gonna check that out and then just come home and have a chill night, and it's gonna be great. A centipede was on my laundry basket and it scared me, so I had to kill it. Oh no, I hate those like many-legged creepy crawlers. They creep me out so bad. I know that I think centipedes are like the nice ones and millipedes are like the mean ones, but they creep me out so much. I have a story about one of those that we'll tell right before we end stream. Pantsers Unite. Yes. I 100% believe, I mean, we've talked about this on stream before, but I know we also have some new people in stream today. I 100% believe that there is no one-size-fits-all writing way. There's, many paths, and walk the one that you're comfortable. There's no wrong way. If it feels good for you and it works for you and it gets your ideas onto the page, don't let anyone tell you that you're doing it wrong. Some people will try, some people will say, you gotta do this and you gotta do that. But just because that works for them doesn't mean that it will work for you. Like, do the thing that makes you happy. And honestly, if writing a certain way works for you for a while, like if writing with an outline works for you for a while, and then all of a sudden you start to feel like it makes you feel stale and you want to just do whatever the hell again, do it. Pull out all the stops. Do whatever you want. There are no rules. So I 100% believe that pantsing is great, plotting is great, plotsing or planting or whatever you want to call it, because I kind of do both, is great. It's all great. The most important thing is write and enjoy it, and that's my spiel. Gotta finish this 3rd chapter if it takes 1,000 years. I need to get back on track after my burnout and actually finish a book. You will finish this book, Laurel Tabby. I have faith in you. It doesn't matter It doesn't matter how long it takes. Speed is not everything. Quality is so much more important, but also enjoyment. You have to get enjoyment out of it. And I sincerely believe that if you start with a small number of words every day and just sort of keep consistent, not even necessarily every day, but on a consistent schedule, 3-4 times a week, whatever, you will slowly over time build those word counts up. You will be able to do more and more and hopefully enjoy it more and more. Everyone has off days. I mean, I have days where I spend an hour trying to write 300 words and I hate everything about it. Everyone has days like that. They never completely go away, but chip away at things a little at a time. That's all that matters. And don't compare your speed to mine, because I literally just sat here and word puked whatever was in my brain for the last 2 hours, and I have no promises that any of this was good, just that it was fun. This will eventually go up on my blog. All of the 22 stories in 2022, actually I'll pop over there quickly before we end stream. All of my 22 stories in 2022 prompts, blogs will eventually go up on my blog. And I link to the VODs on YouTube. All the VODs go up on YouTube, so if you're ever interested in seeing how I meander my way through these, they all go up. The most recent one is story number 3. I know we're on story number 11, and this is on story number 3, but it's just because of how the cycle of my blog works. Not all of the stories will go up in 2022, but all of them will be written in 2022, which is the most important thing. My literal mood today. Supernatural writer, you can do it. Missed everything I said. Why? What happened? Heading out for the weekend. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great weekend. Have a good trip, AB Coffee. I hope we'll see you next week. I'm probably going to try to stream on Monday and Tuesday, but if things go entirely crazy next week, then I'll have to push the streams to later in the week like I did a couple weeks ago. There is a lot going on with Ghost School right now, and with my health as well. So next week might be a little iffy, but bear with me. I'll hopefully get everything sorted out. Commercials, oh no. Basically the gist of it was I was saying, write in whatever way feels good for you. That's the only real rule. Do what you gotta do to get the words down. Don't let anybody tell you that you're doing it wrong, because there's not a wrong way. There's not a right way either. Just whatever way works for you. Okay, I promised a story. So I'm going to tell this story quick, and then we're going to do a raid. Back when we lived at the house before this one, it was basically it was 2-story. It was big, open space in the middle where like the living, dining, kitchen area was pretty open, and then there was a loft upstairs, which is where my office was. Was it haunted? Kind of. Gonna ask about cover advice for science fantasy, as my book is really strange. Sure, I can try to give you some advice here, but it might be easier to do that. It might be easier if you send me a description in Discord of what your story is about, because that's kind of a really complicated thing. Also, it kind of depends as well, if you're working with a cover designer, if you're planning on designing it yourself. I can definitely do my best to give some advice, but I will be honest that I usually just say a bunch of stuff to my cover designer and she tells me what will work. So I can try to repeat some of her advice, but I can't promise that I will be able to do it accurately. So yeah, it wasn't haunted. I'm assuming that's what you were asking, but my office was up in the loft, and then you had to go downstairs to get to the kitchen area. It was about 1:30 in the morning. I was getting ready we were planning on driving to visit Flutterdye because she still lived on the West Coast, and this was before COVID, so this was when travel was still a thing. And we could still easily get to her place. And I'm always up late the night before we travel, just like making sure that I've got everything ready. So I had gone down to the kitchen from the loft to make sure that everything was, set. And I turned around, and there's this centipede wriggling its way out from under the oven. I instantly kind of squeaked and darted out. So there were two entrances to the kitchen, right? There was the main entrance, and then it was sort of open out into the dining room. So I ran out into the dining room, around up to the stairs, because it was that big open concept area, and I roused Ghost to go downstairs and take care of the centipede, right? Because I wasn't going to do it. That thing was terrifying. And so my husband, blearily but dutifully gets out of bed to do bug killing duty. And he gets halfway down the stairs, and he turns around and looks at me and is like, because he's half awake, right? And he looks at me and he's like, is this bug real or imaginary? And I was like, I wouldn't get you out of bed for an imaginary bug. It's real. You'll see it. So he goes downstairs, sees the bug, takes care of it, crawls back in bed. I finish up for the night. I, settle everything, go to bed, wake up at, the ass crack of dawn to get on the road to go visit Flutter. And we're in the car, driving to the border, and Ghost is finally like, I had this weird dream last night about this bug in the kitchen. And I was like, yeah, no, that wasn't a dream. That actually happened. So yeah, he asked me if I woke him up to send him after an imaginary bug, or if it was real. So that happened. That's my centipede story. Let's see who's around so that we can do a raid. Janine, if you want to send me, like a little, you don't have to do like too many details, but send me some information about like, what the book is about and like what kind of like elements you're thinking for the cover. And I can try and tell you like what my cover artist would tell me. I will certainly do my best. I know enough about the tropes. I don't know if I necessarily know enough about like the cover composition, because I do work with a cover artist, but I will absolutely do my best. And then that way you don't have to share too much about what is in the book with chat if you're not wanting to share that kind of stuff. There was a spider in my bathtub this morning. It got a free swim in my toilet. Indeed. Lots of the bugs in our house end up there too. Squanchy, how are you? I didn't get a chance to ask. It is on my site, but I can also pop it into the chat there for, don't click on I don't know why it made that a link. Don't click on it. But that's my business email if anyone ever wants to email me about book stuff. Also, I will just pop up really quick the website for, this is my cover designer. She gets pretty busy, but she's pretty awesome. If anyone is looking for a cover designer, I highly recommend her. She's super cool, and if you pop to her portfolio and look at her custom covers, if you scroll far enough, you'll eventually find some of mine on there, because she makes a bunch of my covers. She did the Celestial Serenade covers, and she did the Dream Things True covers, which are on here somewhere as well. So I highly recommend checking her out. She's got some pre-mades available as well. I can share a little bit about it. It's got some futurism, but it doesn't have any outer space elements, and it's much like fantasy with nature focus, so it's not like I can do a typical urban fantasy cover or a sci-fi cover. Okay. Gotta pick up some packages. Take care, Laurel Tabby. Thank you so much for hanging out. Welcome back, Roaring Girl. We are about to wrap up, but I'm glad that you're back. We're just looking at my cover artist's website here quick. Squanchy binging Stranger Things. Nice! We decided to hold off because the last 2 episodes are coming out later, which makes me sad. Let's see who is around. Sable's around. We could drop in on her, return the love from the other day. Supernatural is around. Maybe we'll go over there and encourage Supernatural Raider to finish her words. RMG. Netflix needs to keep viewers watching longer. Yeah, it just seems like a weird... We waited so long for Stranger Things 4, and then they, like, didn't even drop it all at once. The Roaring Girl is a 16th century play about Mary Frith called Mull Cutpurse, a cross-dressing thief. Ooh, I really love the play, so my social handles are all some variation of The Roaring Girl. That's awesome! I should check that out because I've not heard of that before, and it sounds super cool. Before I pop off, I just want to answer Janine. I wasn't ignoring you, I promise. Probably will be able to talk a bit more about this either via email or via Discord because it's, like I said, it's a bit complicated. I believe you said it's science fantasy. Bard Owl, hello! We're just wrapping up, but how are you? For science fantasy, I think, you'll probably have to decide if you want to lean more into the fantasy elements or into the science elements. If it's nature-based, you'll probably want to try to go with fantasy nature-themed cover. You could also try... It depends on if you want to go with an object cover. So, like, if you see on here... this is like a more object-based cover, and Molly does a lot of these. Like, these are more object-based covers where it's focused more on the stylized design and objects from the story. Something like that might work better for something that doesn't fit naturally into a specific genre, because it will allow you to focus on elements of the story and sort of express the elements of the story via the objects that you're choosing to depict. And you could do something like one science-based object and one fantasy-based object on each cover to sort of show the blending of what the story is about and set the expectation. The other type of covers are covers like this, where they are, and this is sort of what I have, is the more character-based covers. Where you're basically focusing on the characters, and then for me the elements are sort of in the background, right? You can see the elements of the city and the ruined city and the elements of the spaceship and that kind of stuff in the background. You could do something like that to bring more focus onto the characters, but for something that's a bit more of a blend in genre, it might work better to do the object-based covers. So just a few thoughts there. Like I said, I only design about half of my covers, and I'm definitely not as good at this kind of stuff as Molly. But there's a couple of options. You could focus more on sort of like the stylized elements of the story to sort of express that it's unique. Or you could try to just focus on the characters and have some more of the nature-based stuff, like the setting stuff in the background. And especially if maybe like you had like a forest on one or a city on another or something like that, just depending on what kind of settings are. But this is very generic advice, because without more details about what the book is about, I can't give more detailed advice. Just made, and now eating a delicious lunch. Nice! I'm about to go do the same, make and eat a delicious lunch. So let's hop over to... Oh, my Twitch has decided that it doesn't like me right now. Let's pop over to Supernatural Raider. She is working on finishing a first draft. I believe. She's been hanging out in our chat, so we're gonna go encourage her to get some stuff finished. I'm gonna have my leftover pizza from birthday night, I think. I'm gonna pop it in the oven, do a quick yoga routine while it's cooking, and then I'm gonna chill for a bit and enjoy that. So that's what I'm about to be up to. Thank you so much to everyone who came and hung out. I really appreciate it. Pulled pork banh mi with a cucumber and carrot slaw. Oh my god, that sounds amazing. Can I come over to your place? Leftover pizza just hits different. I know, right? Like I don't know. There's the fresh pizza and then there's the leftover pizza, and they're both amazing. Here are the raid calls for anyone who would like to use those. Please feel free to use any emotes that make you happy, of course. Thanks again so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry to speed off, but like I said, I gotta get some food in me. I've got a D&D campaign to hit tonight. I will hopefully be back Monday and Tuesday with some more editing, but next week is going to be one of those wishy-washy weeks where I just have a lot going on, so I apologize in advance if the schedule ends up being pushed back or just totally messed up. You guys are so great. I was sincerely not sure how writing would go today, but it was great sharing with you and hanging out. I really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. And I will hopefully see you soon.